That's our buddy. So with the advanced license and stuff all done, I'm still thinking right now, what's the best place to actually test out flying the drone in a controlled airspace? My first thought was to basically just go to somebody's house, for example, their private property, and just get permission, I guess, to fly in that airspace just as a test for this whole NAV Canada procedure and all that. Because they say it could take up to 48 hours to get it approved. Then again, I've heard someone say before they've got it approved pretty much almost instantaneously. I'm just guessing it's based on complexity. So if you write something there saying you're flying basically like their private property in a regular neighborhood, you're gonna fly 122 meters in the air, they'll probably look at that and say, you know what, there's gonna be no planes flying that low, just approve it, I would assume. Versus if you're, say, in the downtown area trying to fly around the seawall or something like that, which is something I would be interested in, that would probably be a little bit more complex, obviously, in terms of approval. I know just based on the stuff I read, they said the easiest way to fly in places like that, I guess, in the downtown-ish area or the seawall area to get approval is to have, I guess, a stationary boat just in the middle of the water and make your operation kind of like how I would fly normally, just straight up, straight down, pans and so forth. So I don't really know anyone who owns boats or anything like that, but it'll be something to think about. And just for clarification, after the flight review yesterday, you basically just get an email, says click on this link, you pay for your license, and that's it. There's nothing more to it afterwards. Very expensive overall though, but I think I went through the right choices, so to speak, for my scenario on what was the best way to, I guess, get the license. But it probably did some stuff differently, and just from evaluation, I think I have a better understanding what's the best route to go with in terms of if you want the advanced license with the way things currently are, unfortunately, with things like the exam. It's one of those things, like I said before, I did it, doesn't necessarily mean I agree with it, that's just the way it is at the moment. For a person like myself, I'll still hopefully do the best I can to try to get things changed with what I can do, so to speak. And hopefully other people are as well in their own way. I mean, just a funny thought where, again, I did it not necessarily because I agree with it. With all the stuff that I learned just through this whole process, that advanced exam and so forth, honestly, probably less than 5% of the stuff they force you to learn was actually relevant, in my opinion, like just for the actual drone flying test in general, and as well whether or not it makes someone flying a drone, like to be safe. The only real types of knowledge I think is applicable is just how to identify, like if you're in a controlled zone or not, for example, how to get the permission. Honestly, that's all that was really relevant. I think one of the best examples is all that stuff they make you learn about meteorology and stuff like that. On the actual day of the flight, I basically did what most average people would do in a modern day age. I took, for example, weather reports just from various apps, for example, and it tells you exactly what the wind speed is, what direction it's going, etc., etc. Is it good to fly? Common sense, you stand out here as well, like to check the weather. You don't need to read things like METAR reports to determine, can I fly this thing, like let's say 122 meters in the air right now, where I am. And I read this today, it had an interesting title to it. It says, Swiss drones grounded after crash near playing children. Drones carrying lab samples between hospitals in Switzerland have been grounded after a crash 60 yards from where preschool children were playing. The drone crashed in woodland after a rope holding its emergency parachute broke. In May, IEEE Spectrum reported. Swiss Post said it would examine all safety procedures before flights resumed and asked drone maker Matternet to urgently fix a series of issues. To me, that's an example of you can have all the precautions in place in the world, but stuff is going to happen eventually. So just saying things like, because it can happen, we need to like ban all this stuff and all that. Because if you read other stories, I mean, people could use it in a good way. This one says, a man vanished for 5 days, then a drone found him injured in the woods. A Maryland man who was missing for 5 days has been found severely injured in the woods with the help of a search party volunteer using his drone. Julian Bustos confirmed to WTTG he was using his personal drone to search for 44-year-old Jason Blake Mabby when he spotted him in a densely wooded area near Columbia. Bustos is quoted as saying he was shocked when he found Mabby, just lying there. Great example there where you could say in one situation, they're too dangerous, whereas this person, like I said, he used his personal drone to basically find the person and saved his life. That's something I was thinking about too, or hopefully I'll get the opportunity to do something like that to help people in a good way with my advanced license, because in many ways, I guess people need to realize it. Even though like a person like me, like I said, flies it for fun, cinematically to get footage, you can use it in a good way too. So I guess I need to be on the lookout for any potential opportunities, or I guess people know of opportunities like that, pass it on my way. Alright, see you guys later.